In January 2024, I took on what I thought was the hardest challenge on Football Manager, taking a non-league side in England to Champions League winners, and I did that with Bishop Stortford, but today I'm taking it one step further. We are off to Scotland and to Fort William, a place I recently visited and fell in love with. And we are taking a 6th tier Scottish side who are a semi-professional side to European winners and winners of Scotland. We're going to be doing this using Scottish-only signings as well. We are making this the ultimate Football Manager rebuild, so grab yourself some popcorn because this is going to take a long time. Now, I've got 3 simple rules for this rebuild. Number 1 is that we are only allowed to sign players from the UK, and until we get to the top flight of Scotland, I'm going to lock it to only Scottish, which is going to be absolutely incredible. Also very, very difficult. Number 2 is that we have to win a European competition. And number 3, we have to topple Celtic and Rangers and become champions of Scotland. Now, Fort William are simply one of the worst clubs in Scotland. In fact, they actually were media marketed as the worst club in the UK just 2 seasons ago, where they lost like 18 games in a row. Here on Football Manager, they have a half-star reputation, half-star training facilities, half-star youth facilities, and a 1 silver-star youth recruitment. Money isn't great. There's 10 grand in the bank, but that's probably going to deplete very quickly as we sort of look at the projection of the club. It's only going down. There is not a lot of money coming in, believe it or not, in the 6th tier of Scotland. And in terms of the development centre, well, there's not even a reserve or under-19s team. So this is the squad we have got. Our star man to kick things off is Martin Monroe. He has got 13 acceleration, 11 pace, and 14 flair. So he's basically the Messi of the Scottish low leagues. And then we've got our true centre-back, Darren Quigg, 36, slow, but he's determined. And he's got 14 tackling, which is absolutely incredible. And finally, our midfield maestro in Eliandro Sokwe, who's got great determination, decent physicals, and honestly, for this level, pretty good technicals. I mean, he's got 13 passing, so at least we've got someone that can hopefully find our strikers over the top. And well, speaking of our strikers over the top, I've got to make some signings, so we've actually got a little bit of a chance this season. We're only playing a 4-4-2. As you can see, we're playing our Stoke 4-4-2. So if you enjoyed that rebuild, you'll enjoy this one because we're playing very similar football, but not signing only 6-foot players. We've got Zach Queen, who is our poacher up front. 13 finishing. He has got 3 composure, so when he gets there, he'll get a little bit worried, but that's fine. For now, he's our guy with Dom Kavanagh up front, who is a little bit more composed at 7, but also 13 finishing and some decent speed. Now, I'm not going to go through every single signing in this rebuild. The team is going to change a hell of a lot over the next 20 years, but I will be coming back every single season to let you guys know how it's going and see as we're progressing as a club. I mean, it's going to be difficult. We've got no money, so I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to really improve Fort William into a top side, but you never know. Hopefully, it's going to be possible. For now, let's get into season 1. We are in the North Caledonian League. We are predicted to come 5th, and the holders of the league is Loch Ness. So, yeah, we've got to try and avoid Nessie at some point. And well, this season, it was us that was the monster of Scotland because we absolutely dominated the North Caledonian League. Our 4-4-2 fast, free-flowing football was exactly what we needed. And when Zach Queen gets in the ball, he hasn't got the composure, but he can certainly finish. Him and Dom Kavanagh up front were absolutely incredible. We destroyed this random Scottish team 6-0 here today to kick off the season, which, I mean, bodes pretty well for how things are going to go for the rest of it. Queen again finds Hay down this right-hand side, who sticks it into the back of the net for 5-0 in the 60th minute, and our 6th goal came in the 60th minute as well. Long ball up to the front 2, knocks it down, we grab the goal, and Fort William are on top form. And that top form, of course, led us to winning the title as well. 57 points, miles clear of St. Doofus. I mean, is that even a name? That's absolutely incredible. I love Scotland. I mean, Editor Jack, if you can, edit a photo of Fort William Stadium right now because they literally play in front of mountains. Like Ben Nevis, I'm pretty sure, is in the background. It might not actually be Ben Nevis, but mountains all around like that are just around the football pitches, and it's incredible. Scotland is amazing. I actually went to Scotland to watch a Fort William game, and it got postponed the day before because they were playing against Orkney, who is an island at the top of Scotland, and they had to meet halfway to play a game at a random school. That's the level we're managing at right now, and we've turned them into an absolute force. And we're going straight up to Division 5. And given the fact we have got promotion, we have improved the team a lot, but you cannot buy partnerships. Zach Queen and Dom Kavanagh are staying as our front two because they love each other. They're having a great time, a good partnership up there, and both of them got 20 plus goals last season. So they've got to stay in the team. And you're probably wondering how I'm looking to sign all these players. I am simply going to the scouting market. I am signing anyone on a trial that is Scottish and their contract has expired. As you can tell, we know a lot about everyone at this point. If you want a little tip on how to do this, simply head to your scouting. If you don't want to do just Scottish, do whatever nation you want. I go by world rating. I simply click on around 50 players, transfer, off them a trial, 2 weeks. If we go forward just 1 day, just to show you exactly how this actually works in the match engine, we'll go forward a few hours so they all sign into the club, which they now have. We'll go to the squad. We'll sort this by ability. I mean, I've tried to get all these players. Trust me, they don't want to join or they'll go to someone else. I've been doing this. This rebuild has taken me 3 weeks to make. That's how long this has taken. But you literally just now all these players without scouting them at all that they're going to be semi-decent. Obviously, we don't know his stats yet, so I'll probably simulate a week. But I'll go down to say Blair Snedden and below isn't going to be good enough. I will simply terminate all of their trials, go back to the scouting players, and we go again. Now down again. Bang, transfer off a trial. Because we're at such a low level, we only know of 240 footballers in the world. That's how low we are talking right now. So literally anyone that can kick a football is going to get into the side. But that's how you scout players in the lower leagues. And if you didn't know that, well, that's a fantastic tip. Now, well, that transfer method helped us massively this season because it meant we were able to stay in the league. We come in 12th in season number 2, our first in Division 5, which is where Fort William were actually slandered as being the worst team in the UK. So fair enough, we've done it. We've overtaken Loch Ness. Nessie's going down to Div 6 again. See you later, Nessie. We've got teams near like Elgin City, Clachnudin, Nairn County, Lochie United, Banks OD, Berwick have just won the league. Brecon, East Kilbride. It's hilarious. This database is absolutely fantastic as well. And if you do want to download this database, just if you go on FM Scout and try and find the Scotland lower tiers, there's like a 10 tier one, which is absolutely fantastic. That is what I am using here today. I'll try to put a link in the description down below. The front two got on very well again with old dog Queen and Kavanagh both scoring 14 and 13 goals. That's pretty much our goal out at this point. Munro, who was our star player by quite some distance at the start, is now 31 and not very good for us at all. So thank you, Martin Munro. I believe you're actually a Fort William player in real life. I hope so anyway, because the database I downloaded said it'll be all realistic. So Martin Munro, thank you very much. You've got us promoted, but now, ta-ra, it's time to improve and get out of Division 5 straight up to Div 4 if possible. And again, a huge influx of signings coming into the club and a huge influx of improvement as well. In fact, even our front two have been changed. Both Dom and Zach Queen are now backups to the club, but we have got Kieran Driver up front, who is more determined, very slow, but he's fairly decent, and Andrew Kyle, who looked absolutely fantastic. Got 12 acceleration, decent finishing, jumping reach, 13 finishing, and 13 flair. And overall, the team as a whole has improved massively. It has taken a long time to build this team to the point where we're now actually predicted to finish in 6th place in the league. And we have actually already started the league, and we've got 2 wins from 2, which is beautiful, with a 3-0 win and a 4-0 win. So hopefully things are looking good. And interestingly enough as well, this is our first signing from Celtic. So Andrew Carl was released from there. He actually played 2 games for Celtic B, 5 there, 3 there, but he's now in the Highland League where he's got 3 goals in his first 2 games. We might have found an absolute gem. Yes, we did. He scored 32 goals in 32 games. Overall bagged 40 goals and got 7 assists. And he's officially a good Cinch League 2 player, which is the league above. But sadly, it wasn't enough to help us get promoted, even though we had the top goal scorer by 9 goals. Overall, the team just wasn't quite there. Fort Martin are getting promoted, which means we've got another season in the 5th tier. As I've said, this is not going to be easy. We are making restrictions like only signing Scottish players, or at least partially Scottish players. I actually don't think there's a single English player in the team anymore. It is fully Scottish, which just makes it more fun, makes it more interesting. And it is a real challenge. I implore you guys to try a save like this because it's great. And you can sign yourself someone like Andrew Kyle, who grabs 4 times as many goals as anyone else. It is literally just get the ball in the line to Mahamadou Sambu, who's got semi-decent pace, semi-decent crossing, is very consistent, and whip it in to Big Andrew in the middle, who's going to score goals. He's 6'3". He's not exactly that slow, to be honest, and he's got great finishing. So that is the tactic as things stand. Get it into Big Andrew. And Season 4 was about adding to Andrew Carl and giving him a striker like Mark Ferry and some more wingers to get the balls in. And it's safe to say that worked pretty well, as we went on some ridiculous winning streaks and scored a simply ridiculous amount of goals. Overall, 78 goals to be exact, and that helped us gain promotion to the league above. 67 points, level on points with Fort Martin, but we came top. And well, the interesting thing here is we had to actually face up against Celtic B in a Highland versus Lowland promotion final, which was mental. So basically you have the Highlands of Scotland and the Lowlands of Scotland, and to get up into Cinch League 2, because there's so little space in Cinch League 2, League 1, the Premiership and the Championship, or Championship and Premiership, and because there's only like 40 teams in that, not everyone can go up. So even if you win this league, you have to then win a playoff. And luckily we did that with a 4-3 aggregate victory over Celtic B. Which means the money was going to be pouring in, right? Right, because we're £119,000 in debt. And to get us up to this level has been very, very difficult. Our wage budget is now £800 a week. It was 400 quid, which even when compared to the 5th tier, was ridiculously low. We are on 5 times less money than Brora Rangers on 104k, and Brora Rangers finished down in 12th place. So we are working a miracle on a tiny budget, and it's through signing players like Andrew Carl. Another ridiculous season overall for Fort William, 67 goals in 68 games. He's a leading striker for the league above, which is very, very exciting. His contract has actually ran out, and we are trying to get him to agree to another. We need to improve the squad to make that an actual thing. And well, that's because we've run into an issue. As we've got promoted into Cinch League 2, all of our players have left, and our wage budget is £800, and we are spending 400, and we have 3 players. So staying in Cinch League 2 is going to be very difficult. As things stand, we have a £399 wage budget, double what we're currently spending to bring in around 15 players. And we're spending that on 3. I'm not sure if it's a bug in the safe, the database that I've got of when you get promoted from the 5th tier to the official leagues that are in the game. But this now makes this challenge a hell of a lot harder, because all the progress we've made is about to be ripped up because we haven't got any money, and as things stand, we have 3 actual players. And well, even by the 6th of July, we now only have 4 players, but Andrew Carr was signed an actual new contract on less money, which is great. But 4 players is going to be a real struggle. So if you are currently enjoying the story of this rebuild, make sure you are subscribing to the channel, because there is going to be some incredible rebuilds coming out over the next few months, and you do not want to miss them. Just because FM25 has stopped does not mean I've stopped. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, and of course, if you are enjoying it, like the goddamn video. And well, eventually we got kind of a squad. And this is literally as much as I can get. Our transfer budget is spent. We have £31 left in the wage budget. The finances are ropey. My current plans are to pray that we stay up this season, which should give us some competition funds to actually then go for it next season and stay up. We're actually not the worst team in this league. I don't know if it's an issue just in Cinch League 2 where the quality of players is absolutely horrendous, but even though the fact we've got like 10 actual players, I mean, is it actually 10? It's 13. We've got 13 players. We have got a striker, and we've got Harry Potter's long lost brother Fergus up front, who is a decent Highland Low League player where we just come from, and we're now gone up a division, and we need him to be good. This is simply pray we don't get relegated, and hopefully we're going to be okay. The only good thing is that if you do come bottom of Cinch League 2, you go into a playoff against the Highland Low Leagues, and then they play against each other, or something happens where eventually everyone plays, and you don't actually have to get relegated if you come last, which is very odd. I've got a feeling this could be a very difficult season, though. And well, yeah, the predictions were lying. We are not the 5th best team. We are absolutely awful, in fact. To the point where we are in them relegation playoffs, but we are facing up against our old friends Celtic B, who do go 1-up in the 11th minute, but in the 95th in the first leg, our good man Andrew Kyle wins a header to give us a chance taking the game back to Claggin Park. But I'll be honest, things weren't pretty. We went all the way to extra time. We went 1-0 down thanks to Shalpuka, but Harry Potter's magic brother Fergus scored and took us to penalties, which eventually we ended up winning. We won it 3-2 in the end, and we got peppered all game. We do not deserve to be in Cinch League 2 in the slightest. We got absolutely battered in the league, 10 points below Brescian. We had 2 strikers though, which knew how to put the ball in the back of the net, and that helped us a lot. Andrew Carl and Fergus Potter were only 3 goals behind the top goal scorer in the entire division, who was Josh Hines, who got promoted with Forfar. So without Andy Carl and Harry Potter's magical little brother Fergus, we'd be absolutely ruined. But the good news is our staying up has saved our financial situation. We now have 52 grand in the bank, and in terms of our budget, £2,800 in wage budget, which doesn't really seem a lot, does it? But it is a lot at this level, and 16k in transfer budget as well. So finally, we're going to be able to actually improve this team. I don't know what we would have done without these two. Without them, we scored a grand total of 11 goals all season. So these two, I think they're going to be staying around. And well, they are indeed staying around. And we've actually got somewhat of a squad this season, which is a massive, massive dub. We've got a great goalkeeper, a shocking defence, a decent midfield, and of course Big Fergus and Kyle up front. If Big Fergus doesn't do it this season, because he is only 1.5 star rated, we've got Nicky Reed up front, who to kick off the season has got 5 goals in 6 games and is extremely consistent. Good pace, good finishing, good composure for this level as well, which is fantastic. So all things considered, we've definitely improved, and that massively showed because we come 8th in the table in season number 6 before just about staying alive in season number 7, and much more difficult this season. And that's because for some reason Andrew Cole forgot how to score goals. Only 15 in 42. Last season it was 26, so we need to get Andrew back, please. And well, that is exactly what happened, and we are now in the Cinch League 1/League 2 playoff relegation battle against Dumbarton. In the first leg, we actually lost 2-1 at Claggin Park, so going away from home, we need to get a good result, and we did go 1-0 up, but conceded pretty quickly, so we were back down. But big man Andrew Carl stepped from the spot to take us to extra time, where we score a fantastic corner routine. I say that, it was a little bit lucky, a good challenge from McCarver, and it's well finished in by Hennon, who makes it 3-1, I believe, at this point, and McCarver gets down the right-hand side to put the game to bed to make it 4-1, thanks to a goal from McNamara. Now you might be thinking we're up to League 1. Not just yet, because there is actually the final. That was only the semis. And for the final, we're up against Spartans. Not the Harlem Spartans, the Scottish Spartans. And we are going to go 1-0 up. But that is our only goal in the first round, or the first leg, sorry, of this 2-legged affair, as we end up getting a little bit battered away from home, as Cairns makes it 1-1, a free kick from Adams makes it 2-1, and Spartans grabbed a very big lead after going 3-1 up, meaning we had to go back to Claggin Park and get a Scottish miracle. And we were going to try our hearts out, because this means everything. The money we get from going up to League 1 is absolutely huge. So we scored to make it just a 1-goal deficit, and we scored just 5 minutes later to get us tied, thanks to a goal from Watson from the edge of the box. But we gave away a penalty just after half time before scoring 60 seconds later to tie the game up and send us to the dreaded penalties, where we won. The Spartans absolutely bottled it. We won 4-2. We scored every penalty. They missed 2 out of 4 penalties, which is awful. And somehow the mighty Fort William this season, after coming 10th last year, are getting promoted. Now, we finished this season in 3rd place on 57 points, miles behind Peterhead on 74, around 15 points behind, well, more than that, 17 points behind. So this is going to be a very, very difficult year. We battered Dumbarton, only got 6 points above us, and obviously the League 1 team getting promoted. We battered them as well, which means we are going up. But again, more struggles are on the way. Financially, we're okay. As mentioned, we got a massive influx of money for getting promoted. We're now up to 135k, which is I think, the most we've ever had at this point, which is unbelievable. We've actually got money to spend. We've actually got a transfer budget of 21,000, which I'm not going to be spending. We've got 2.5k in wage budget. We don't really need to be spending money at this point. We just need to keep bringing them free agents. And I might as well go through the team a little bit, because things have changed a hell of a lot. I mean, just to quickly mention, in case anyone doesn't believe, we're doing the Scottish players only. Here you go. Every single player is Scottish, which is fantastic. As mentioned, when we get up to the top flight of Scotland, we might change that so we get to play with English, Northern Irish, Welsh players as well. But for now, we are just going as Scottish only. Yeah, this is the team. We've got Cummings and Kyle up front. Kyle was just him. He's an absolute joke. I love him. And Dan Cummins is a fantastic striker next to him as well. Great finishing composure for this level and decent speed. So he has been a massively influential player, scoring 29 goals this season. Just 4 less than Mr. Cole himself. Watson on the left wing has been great. Big Dean with Mamadou Sambu on the right. Still here from 3 seasons ago. He has been a massive part of this promotion run. Frankie Dean is in DM with Harry Henham, who scored in one of them games. A very well-rounded midfielder with Matt Henderson at right back. Jamie Carnahan at right back, and Henderson at left back, with Buchan at centre back, with Ewan and Glavin in goal. The defence and goalkeeper are shocking, I'll be completely honest. They need to be improved massively. And now we've got this actual bit of wage budget and some actual potential money in the bank. Hopefully we can do that. Again, though, all I am doing every single season is going here, making sure we've got someone we can actually scout, head to expired players, and just get everyone on trial. If you want another little tip, the other thing I would like to do is to give you an international youth appearance. Now, contracts haven't actually run out yet. They run out in 7 days' time. But saying it so there's one youth appearance, you might get an absolute hidden gem come out that you wouldn't normally find. So that's another good little tip for finding players on free agents. Number 1, trial everyone. If you need to trial less players, trial players with at least 1 youth appearance to see if any little hidden gems come out, because we are doing this as Scottish, but they can be partially Scottish. So someone here like Vanslav Kakamov, who's playing for Cove Rangers, he's not good enough, I know that already, but he is actually Bulgarian and played 3 games in the Bulgarian youth team, so he's someone that we could potentially sign. So certainly another thing to check out for. But let's go. We're into the 3rd tier of Scotland. Now we are halfway through getting our leagues up. And would you look at that, after a massive summer of improvements, Andrew Carr was actually now one of our worst players, which is absolutely shocking. He is certainly staying here because he is him, even if he has dropped a 6.59, and all the goals have come from Dan Cummings up front. What we have done is massively improve the defensive vote and brought in a fantastic goalkeeper in Metcalf. The midfield 4 is now nice and strong. We have 2 very quick, decent wingers in Curtis and McGinley as well. And we did break the bank. We used every single penny we could financially, but things are looking okay when it comes to the transfer budget and our overall bank balance. We're not completely minding the club like we were when we were in the Lowland Leagues. And interestingly enough, when we actually compare our wage now in Cinch League 1, we are in the top 4, so there was definitely a disparity in going from the Lowland Leagues to Cinch League 2 with the wages we were allowed, which is why we struggled so much. So very good to see that we are actually now back in sort of touch with where we should be and offering the wages we should be for our players. Hopefully, though, we can keep that on the low side. We don't want to be at the top of this and not get promoted. If we get promoted, we can be in the top. But for now, we're actually predicted to come in 9th place, and we are one of the people with the most money. So that's not great. Hopefully, though, we overachieve this massively and have a fantastic season. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't a great season at all. There is a lot more losses on there than I would like. But it was just enough to stay safe. And even though he was a 2-star current ability player, Andrew Kyle comes in clutch again and grabs 26 goals in 40 games. I've got no idea why this guy is performing so well. We're in Cinch League 1. He is a decent Cinch League 2 player, and he's absolutely carrying. Big Andrew, respect to you, mate, because you're an absolute legend. Cummings up front grabbed 19 goals. Our midfield didn't grab a single goal, which is good to see. So, yeah, we've got 2 strikers. We're getting the ball into them, and that is pretty much the game plan at the moment. And to be honest, it's not changing. The 4-4-2 is going absolutely nowhere. The only thing that has changed is the front 2. We are now in regen territory. We are 10 seasons into this rebuild, now halfway through. Let me know in the comments down below, how many seasons do you think it's going to take for us to win a European competition and win the Scottish Premiership? Obviously, this is season 10. We're effectively halfway through what we need to get to. Are we halfway through in seasons, or is it going to take us longer because we have got to win a European competition as well? We shall see. Now we have got Finley Pollock on the right and Aidan McGinley on the left, but the front two are new and improved. We have Craig Hornby, which is all about speed, and we've got Martin, who's all about finishing. 13 finishing, 12 composure. Unbelievable for this level, which is good to see. We've got Calder at right back. Defense is shocking. Honestly, defenders are not spawning from anywhere. Just attackers at this point, which makes it difficult, especially given the restrictions of just signing Scottish players only. At the moment, it is proving very, very difficult. We are currently, obviously, in Cinch League 1 in 7th place. Having played a game, we lost it 1-0 to East Kilbride. We are predicted this season to struggle, but not be the worst team. Clyde are worse than us. So hopefully we can stay up. And what we did, we hung on by the skin of our teeth in season number 10. But you join me here on season 11 because things have improved massively already. We are now a mid-table just outside the playoffs Cinch League 1 team, and it was all due to one man, Paul Morrison, a brand new striker. Again, of course, as I said, the team transitions a lot. This guy is a demon. He is 5'11". He places his shots with 15 finishing and 12 composure, which is brilliant, and outrageous physical stats at this level. He likes big matches, and he just grabbed 35 goals in 42 games. The 4-4-2 is cooking. We've got Gyat on the right wing, which is fantastic. He is incredibly quick. Dobby, we had Potter earlier. We've now got Dobby on the left wing, and Morrison and Hornby up front doing their thing. The defence is slightly improved, but still we're taking some time to improve that. But that's season a 10 and 11 zoomed through, and things are looking good. We are on the up, other than financially. This is where things are going to get difficult because our wage budget isn't exactly going down, but the board are now starting to pin their hopes on the fact that we'll actually get promoted. And the fact this season was a mid-table and that's what we've done. I mean, to be fair, I say that. They just want us to finish mid-table. But if you would do that, lads, we'll just go broke and go back down to the Highland Leagues again, which no one wants. We all want to see Fort William win the Scottish Premiership. So I can't let that happen. To fix this financial situation, we've got to go broke this year. We've got to put absolutely everything into it so we get up at least into the Championship variation of Scotland. So that is exactly what we have done. There is not a stone unturned and not a player that has grown up at some point in Scotland that we have not trialed and that we do not know about, and we have now massively improved this team. The defence is actually pretty decent. I mean, as ball-playing defenders are not great, but as central defenders, we've actually got players that can do stuff. Fullbacks are decent, midfield is strong, and 2 strikers up front. Obviously, Morrison stays up front because he's absolutely crazy. But now we've got Barry Duffy next to him as well. And this guy's even better. 15 finishing, 16 composure, good physical stats. And honestly, all I've been doing to find these players every single season, season in, season out, is just in getting our scouting range to at least Scotland, if we can afford it, UK and Ireland, just literally getting everyone in on trial that we possibly can. I mean, all these 2,500 players have probably been trialed at some point. I mean, you can see there's some that we know about, some that we don't, that they just weren't good enough and we released them quickly. I mean, someone like Adam Lewis, who is fairly decent, I mean, he's not actually going to come into the squad, I don't think. He's a 3-star player, he's a decent midfielder, but doesn't really suit our system. We have been going for absolutely everyone possible. I mean, this has been ridiculous, the amount of players that come on trial. And you can see some of them are still here. It is just ridiculous. You have to spend so much time trialing players, but if you do it, it can be so rewarding, and we can actually build a very, very strong side. And now I think we can compete for the league, and we can do more than that. We can absolutely blow out this league. We have had an unbelievable season, an unprecedented season, to the point where now Fort William are not in the Cinch League 1. We got 78 points. We had the 2 top goal scorers, including a brand new player I've not touched on just yet, and the most goal difference by quite some distance. We were absolutely fantastic, and the step up from this is now the Championship of Scotland, and there's teams in here we all actually know. Falkirk, Livingston, Hamilton, some pretty big, decent clubs we are now going to be facing up against. We have made Fort William a much better club. And of course, the signing I want about that we haven't spoken about is Ian Mears. He was one of my last minute signings from doing all the trialing. He is a fantastic striker. I mean, I say that he's not actually as good as the other 2 in terms of stats. in the match engine apparently is crazy. He's consistent in Leipzig matches, which helps a lot. He's also 6'4" and got 13 pace. We've got our Scottish own Haaland, which is absolutely fantastic. And you might be wondering why we're not going for like loads of young players and trying to bring players up through the academy. Well, that's because even now in season number 12, we don't have a youth team or a B team. I've been asking every single season. Due to the absolute dire financial constraints we find ourselves in, that hasn't been possible. And that means that improving the youth facilities and training facilities also hasn't been possible. So me to bring in a 16-year-old with 5-star potential is completely pointless unless they're going to play games, because we cannot develop them. We have got a park as our facilities. We literally play on the top of Ben Nevis at this point for our facilities. They are that bad. We are just, scraping by and getting up the leagues by just signing players which are mid-20s to high 20s and just winning games. That is currently the process. I am not interested in developing wonder kids left, right, and centre. Like normally, this is purely about signing the best players available in every position. And also this season, we tweaked the tactic. We moved from the 4-4-2 to a 4-2-4 to go more attacking, more aggressive, bring them wingers up, drop them midfielders back, pump it long to the quick wingers, get it into the front two, and it worked an absolute treat. So financially this season we've got an extra 4.5k in wage budget, which is massive because the teams above are spending quite a bit more money than us. Falkirk, 2.5 million salary per annum, whereas us on the other hand are on just a measly 300,000. So again, we are competing well above our weight. But that is what we do here at Fort William. We upset the odds. Which is why for season 13, I wasn't surprised at all to see us predicted to come bottom of the league. We had been underdogs the whole way through this journey, and that doesn't stop here. We're going to be underdogs till the very end. We are never going to be the big boys in the league, but we are going to have a story to come out of it. As we look at the team now, there has been some improvements. We've got Cameron and Wright in DM, who currently are both learning the position. They will get there eventually. They're great for it. McMillan and Slater on the wings, of Morrison and Duffy keeping it up front. The defence again is pretty difficult to come by. Good defence, and the goalkeeper is fairly average, to be honest. But we are predicted to come last. It's not going to happen. We are going to continue to upset the odds. And the good thing is, financially, now we're actually promoted to a better division. Again, we've got money in the bank. We've had seasons where we've been £300,000 in debt. Hopefully, that is no more. As our projection, it looks pretty bleak. But we are going to hopefully grow up the leagues and hopefully get some decent players, which means eventually we can sell them for money, and financially it's not going to be an issue. We're now at a point where I'm pretty comfortable that we are going to be okay. We are not going to go broke just yet. But we do need to survive this season, because if we get relegated, then yeah, we might go broke. And well, to be honest, I was expecting to hang on for our lives, finish in 9th place and win the playoffs. That's not happened. We were actually pretty decent. We were 3 points above that playoff spot and miles better than Cove Rangers, who came in 10th. We finished in 7th place, which obviously is nowhere near getting promoted to the Cinch Premier League. Good Lord, do I not want that just yet? We are a long way away from having a squad even a tiny bit capable of competing there. I mean, financially, there's just no way. We are on £450,000 per annum. Well, the top league minimum is 4 million, and the top of it at Celtic is 60 million. We're going to have to improve our financial situation a fair bit, because Celtic are like 120 times better off financially per annum than us. I mean, they spend that anyway. Yeah, so we're going to be up against it. When we get to that league, it's not going to be, you know, we plug ourselves in and we slowly get up. Celtic's team is crazy good. I mean, they're a 3.5-star reputation. Brendan Rodgers is still here. Their captain is Angelo, is worth 23 million and is absolutely ridiculous. So don't think that when we get to the top division it's going to be hunky-dory, because it's not. We're in season 13, but the hardest bit of this rebuild is yet to come. But what have I said about us being the underdogs? This season we made the playoffs to go up to the Cinch Premiership. Now, I'm not sure if this is a good thing or not, but I'll certainly take it if it happens. Now, we beat Ross County 1-0 in the first leg before losing 4-3 in the second leg, but winning on penalties thanks to them just missing more. We've been fantastic from penalties in this rebuild so far, so we are going to the final where we are facing up against a Cinch Premiership club. And when it was Motherwell who were playing today, a absolutely massive club, but at least in comparison to Fort William. We are playing at Clagham Park, and half our stadium doesn't even have a stand. There's just simply a burger van. It is literally non-league football about to potentially go up to the top tier of Scotland as we do win this game 3-1. And all we have to do is defend at home away. So conceding just 2 minutes in wasn't quite part of the plan, but it's the beauty of things here. We are going to make things difficult for ourselves. Well, at least that's what I thought, because literally 4 minutes in, just 3 minutes after conceding that first goal, we do make the game 1-1, and we eventually go 2-1 up. I say eventually. It was a click of a finger. It was 30 seconds as another build-up down this right-hand side from McMullen finds Morrison in the box for a 2-1 lead in this game. We are going to be pegged back by Motherwell. We're going to score again thanks to a ball in from Dibbling. I hope that's not Tyler Dibbling. Christ, he's a bit good for this level. Who scores in the top corner to make it 3-2 on the day. Well, 2-2 on the day, sorry, but still ahead for us. And they're going to score again to go ahead on the day, but it doesn't matter. We are way too good. We are the upsetting kings. We are just him/them. We are unbelievable. Morrison scores to make it a 2-goal advantage, and he scores again from the spot to make it a 3-goal advantage. 4-3 on this day, 3-1 on the other day, 7-4 in aggregate, and Fort William, we're going to the Premier League. The Scottish Premier League, to be exact. We're not going to England to play. We're staying in Scotland. Crikey, if we were to win the Premier League, I don't know what would happen, because that would be, I mean, impossible for one. It's just not going to happen, is it? Celtic and Rangers can't get there. We're not going to get there either. So we are finished in 4th on 50 points, miles behind Kilmarnock, who have won the league. But we've done it on the days. We've done it in the playoffs to eventually get promoted. And we are now going to be up against the likes of Celtic, the likes of Rangers, Aberdeen, Hibernian, Dundee, Hearts, St Johnstone, St Mirren, Falkirk, Dundee United. There are some big clubs here. And little old Fort William from Claggin Park are going to be in the top flight. Now, as mentioned, we were going to have to absolutely send it last season, and that is what we've done. Financially, we are back in the red, but that is all going to change very quickly because the money in the Scottish top tier, well, it's not great across Europe when it comes down to the fact that we've been going on £300 a week for some of this rebuild. It is absolutely incredible. So we've got a wage budget of 16,000 with 5,000 left over, which is going to be difficult still, but we're going to keep a very similar way of signing players. This is how we've done everything up to this point. But this is what we are doing from now on. We are now allowed to sign players from the UK. They have to be either partially Scottish, English, Welsh, or Northern Irish. If we keep this as just Scottish, I don't actually think it will be possible. Opening up our player pool to go to England and hopefully get some players released from Premier League teams is going to help massively. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy task. As we've seen financially, Celtic are paying around £60 million per annum. We are paying around £500,000 per annum. So it's going to be an absolute task, but it's one that we are ready for. So season 15, we are in the Scottish Premiership. I think this is a great time to mention the fact that you are able to get this save file in the Patreon, which is linked down below if you want to play with Fort William. I'll do the season 1 so you can start the task and see if you can beat my record of 20 seasons, or if you want to pick it up, as they are European champions and champions of Scotland at whatever season that is. I won't spoil it just yet. The link is down below. A massive thank you to anyone that supports at Patreon, especially at this time when the game has been delayed 5 months and things are getting a little bit more difficult financially. A lot of money is made on YouTube when it is November and December due to ad rates. So anyone that supports on Patreon is massively helping go a little way to sorting out what could be an absolute mess financially. So if you can help support, that is the best way to do it. Of course, also liking the video, subscribing, and sending this to anyone who likes FM rebuilds, because it has been an absolute task and an absolute journey. But we now sit here in the Scottish Premiership. We still have a completely Scottish-only side. That is because the player pool wasn't exactly tickling my fancy, and I'll try and keep it Scottish for now. When I need to go outside, I will go outside. The actual team is very decent. We've actually got some loanees now as well. James Ingram and Richie Warwick are into the team, but there is a player in this team that is going to stay with us until we complete this rebuild, and that man is Rory Hanlon. He is 24 years of age. He has been released from Hibernian after his contract ran out, and he is fantastic. He loves big matches. He isn't that consistent, but he has got great physical stats, 17 determination, good finishing, and good composure. Is 5'10" and is a fantastic striker. For this level, apparently currently he's only a good Cinch Championship striker. You are going to see over the next however long how good this man is and how good he can actually become, because Rory Hanlon is going to be a Fort William legend. There is also another pretty cool player in this team, and that is Bailey Rice, the player released from Rangers. I mean, well, he came up through the Rangers academies, but all over the place since then. He's landed his way back in Scotland and at the mighty Four. I mean, unbelievable. Bailey Rice is tipped to be a very good player in real life. It's not quite worked out for him as he's worked his way through teams in Scotland, going over to Wellington Phoenix in Australia as well, which is pretty cool. But now he's here and he's starting in very nicely into this 4-2-4 system. He's playing as a deep line playmaker. We've still got wingers, but they're now in support. Just this set a little bit deeper, but still spread the field a lot. Hopefully this is going to be okay. And hopefully Big Rory can save the Four. And survival was all we were looking for season 15, and that is what we done. We were 2 points clear of going into the playoff matches, 5 points clear of Dundee, who were automatically relegated, but we were safe. And that is all that mattered, because financially, that's big things. We have now got £2.5 million in the bank. We have actually got a little bit of transfer budget, 500k to be example, and some wage budget, which is great. So we can actually now spend a bit of money. 10k on wage budget is fantastic. And we are now going to go and look at players from all over the world. Not all over the world, all over the UK, not just Scotland. Rory Hanlon this season was great, 16 goals and 6 assists, but it was still that man, Paul Morrison, who has been with us now for 3 or 4, 5, 6 seasons with 109 goals and 176 games, that scored 24 goals and got 7 assists this season. And to be fair, could also be classed as a come on the fort legend. So Big Paul, thank you very much. We are now going to go on to season 16 and hopefully improve this team with a bit more UK flair, bring in some English, some Welsh and some Northern Irish players. Well, that's not exactly what happened, as we just about survived in season 16. And for season 17, it was even worse. And if it wasn't for Rory Hanlon's goals as he becomes the top goal scorer, we would almost certainly be down. Rory at this point has played 146 games and got 64 goals and is an absolute hero for us. And now at this point as well, we have got a very different team. We've got English, we've got even an Irish player in here in Chris Fitzgerald. He must be Northern Irish and converted. Welsh, English. It's a whole now plethora of UK players, and things have certainly changed over the last few years. Now we have got Donato and Bailey Rice in DM, Lewis and Spence on the wings. I mean, the quality of player now is just so much better. Robert Lewis has got some decent speed, great agility and good crossing, while Regan Spence is more sort of a leader but also got good speed. Hanlon and Pritchard up front are both fantastic together. Donato is a fantastic young English midfielder. He has been really, really good for us. And Bailey Rice next to him now is sort of at the end of his career, but still been pretty good. At the back, we've got Fitzgerald, Blakey, Brown, Munro, and in goal is Alex Millis. But this season, things are going to change because financially, things have been going up and down, but we now have players, ladies and gentlemen, with actual value. This is the first time I'm seeing someone not worth 500,000. Rory Hanlon is worth 10 million pounds. Donato is worth 6 million pounds. We've got a bunch of players now over 1 million, and just getting £1 million would be massive for this wage budget. I mean, even moving 100k takes us from, I mean, not a lot. It adds an extra 2k, but you add that times 10 and £1 million gets us 20k in wage budget, which is mental. So we need to now be clever, lose one of our best players, but gain a lot of wage budget to improve the whole team overall. So thank you very much for your 12 months of service, Francesco Donato, because you have just raised us £2.6 million and we're here for 1 season as a free agent. And he's not the only one as well, because Robert Pritchard, old Rory's partnership up top, has also left for £1.2 million, which means we've actually got some money. And we've actually finally signed someone for actual money ourselves, 13,000, so not a lot. But Barry Burton comes into the team. I like him a lot. He's got great finishing and composure. He's not the quickest, but he is extremely consistent and loves big matches. He's Northern Irish. He has played 1 cap for him and got a goal. He came through the Ipswich Academy, went to Glentoran in Northern Ireland, and now is here at Fort William. And I think he's actually a very good signing for just 13,000. He's not the only player we've brought in. We've brought in a bunch of free agents. The team has improved tenfold to this point. Rory was a 4.5-star player, now a 3.5. Next to Barry Burton up front, Spencer Lee Prince on the wings of Willsmere and Dale in DM. Monroe, Tansman, Thompson, Liam Rogers, and Chidi Eze in goal. I mean, this guy was released from Arsenal. Rogers is a fantastic right back. Thompson's a great, very quick centre back next to Tansman as well, who was also very good. You can see the level we have gone up in literally just 1 year. Now having an extra sort of 50 to 60,000 pounds a week to spend on players has helped massively. Ryan Munro at left back, Dale in DM is fantastic, with Will Smear, who is so well rounded, and training from a central midfielder to a DM will just get better and better. Prince on the right is brilliant, Spence on the left is brilliant, of course Rory up front is an absolute legend, and Barry Burton as well comes into the side. We've actually got a full backup team now of semi-decent players. It's not, amazing, but they're actually here. And we have now finally got our reserves and under 18s. I think this actually happened at the start of going up into the Cinch Premiership. Because of how bad our wages have been, we haven't really kept anyone on. In fact, we've kept no one on at all. But they are there, and players that are injured or need to gain fitness can go and play with fake players, I suppose, in games that they play. But I think we've actually done a very clever thing there. We sold 2 of our best players, but brought in 15 players which are of similar quality on free agent contracts and have massively improved. And you can see that in just the schedule alone. As we were finishing off the season, we were actually in the Cinch Premiership Championship group. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander 14 Fort William from Clagham Park all the way from tier 6 is now in the top tier and is now in Europe. We have finished in 5th place on 60 points, just 3 points away from 3rd place Dundee, 19 points away from Rangers. But since we sold a couple of our best players and brought in all them very good free agents, we have massively improved. And that's a massive tip for you guys if you're doing a save similar to this, like I've done with Bishop Stortford. You get to a certain point, you have to sell one of your best players so you can massively improve your finances, put it into the squad, make a very good overall team. And I mean, you can see we're spending loads more money in terms of wages. We were on 3.5 mil. We're now on 700k, now on 2.8 million. But we're now going to Europe. Next season, regardless of what happens, we're going to have so much more money to actually spend. I mean, we're going to have like 25 million pounds in the bank pretty quickly because, I mean, we're in Europe. As long as we get into the group stage alone, it's like 6 million pounds, which is unheard of for the squad, which means we are going to try and improve the training facilities and new facilities. We have got them up to 1 star and 1 star and 1 star on youth recruitment. They were all half star before, so that's good to see. We've actually improved them a little bit. Reputation wise, now a 2.5 star team as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And a key player, Rory Hanlon, is worth 13 million and is just an absolute legend. Another 18 goals in 44 games, playing as that pressing forward. He has done a super job. Burton up front next to him was nearly the top goal scorer in the league. He grabbed 18 goals. Prince and Spence, fantastic. Our DMs were great as well. And overall, we've built an absolute force. But now it's time for Europe. So it was time to go big. And the reason we could go big is because we sold another star player. I haven't really mentioned him, but he was, again, only here for 1 season. Dante Thompson, coming on a free contract from Newcastle. He's left us for £8 million to Fulham, which is absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, he wasn't even that good last season. His stats and average rate and sort of ability shows he's a fantastic player. He was pretty average, to be fair, of the league, a 6.65, but he comes in and he leaves us after just 1 season. And again, it means we can massively improve the team. And when I say team, I mean squad, because our actual first 11 is good enough to get into Europe, which is great, but it's the rest that needed massive improvements. And we actually now have some good rotational players. Midfield-wise, there's some good players. Up front, James Nweke is absolutely fantastic. 16 acceleration, great dribbling, and good aggression. So a great pressing forward. Kelvin Jeffrey, released from Manchester United, has come in on a free contract. That was a difficult one to go over the line, but he's in. Robert Lewis, Ainsley Cusack, Alex Mawson as a backup DM is fantastic. We could have only dreamed of having players like this just literally 24 months ago. 2 years ago, we'd have prayed for players like this. Now they're actually here. We are in the Premiership, the Conference League, the Scottish Cup, and the Viva Play Cup. Now, I don't want to just win the Conference League and finish this off here. I will take that as a European competition, but I want to win the Premiership, Scottish Cup, and Via Play all in 1 season. So we actually have to do a treble rather than just sort of winning the league and winning the Conference League. We're going to make it so we have to do a domestic treble and win I mean, it's going to be the Conference League, isn't it? We can't win the Champions League. And well, the first order of business was to actually qualify for the Conference League phase, and we done that quite simply. We beat Milsami from Moldova in the second round. In the third round, we dispatched of Dunstrada, who are actually a pretty big club. We beat them 4-1. And in the final qualifying round, we battered Neftchi 6-2 on aggregate, which means we're going straight to the league phase. We ended up coming inside the top 8, which is fantastic because it means we actually end up skipping the knockout playoff round and go straight to the round of 16. There is some big teams in this competition. Well, mainly one that I really want to avoid for as long as possible. And that is Chelsea, who are here, and obviously a very, very good side managed by Xabi Alonso at this point, and some of their values in their team is absolutely ridiculous. So we need to avoid them until, at least the semi-finals. We can't be playing them early on because that'll be very, very difficult. But we are going to have a game in the round of 16 up first. But we played AJF from Denmark, and of course, Rory Hanlon got us off to a fantastic start. Well, actually, I say that we lost the first leg 4-3, so we had to win this game by a couple of goals, and Rory did get us off to that start. And Nweke made us a goal ahead in the 92nd minute when AJF sent everyone forward. We ended up winning the game after a defensive mistake. Rory Hanlon poached in and scored to make it 3-0 on the night, 6-4 in aggregate, and we were going into the quarterfinals, where we then played up against Adana Demirspor, and in the first leg away from home we drew 2-2, so we just had to come back to Klagen Park, and the Turkish team at Adana Demirspor didn't really enjoy the cold mountainous weather too much. We went 1-0 up before an own goal made the game 1-1, but we got back on top thanks to a penalty from Dale, and we scored again to make it 3-1 and 5-3 on aggregate in this game as Spence ran through past the defence and battered it into the top corner. And the semi-finals, well, I thought they were going to be much harder. They were up against Augsburg, and in the first leg we won 5-3, and in the second leg won 3-0. So we won 8-3 on aggregate, which sees us go into the final, where of course we faced up against Chelsea. And we upset all odds. In the 85th minute, Ricky McHarry drove through the defence and scored the one and only goal in a game to make Fort William European Conference League champions. And we have ticked off the list, winning a European competition in this rebuild. That is an absolute whirlwind of a story, and I am absolutely buzzing at the fact we have ticked this off straight away in the Conference League, which I say in every rebuild is probably the easiest competition to win. It is so easy. I don't know why it's so easy, but it seems like it's coded. The games are like friendly games and you just batter any team that stands in your way. But I'll certainly take it for this rebuild because we've come from tier 6. I'm 100% going to take a Conference League trophy, but we have now got the task of winning the Cinch Premiership, the Scottish Cup and the Viva Play Trophy, because you can see we got quarter-finaled in the Viva Play Trophy, we got 5th rounded by Hibernian in the Scottish Cup, and in the Scottish Premiership we come in 5th place again for the back-to-back seasons. We are in the Europa League next season, so there will be a chance that we get to win that, but our main focus is on winning the Premiership. And well, yeah, we've got money in the bank to do that as well. £15 million transfer overall balance and an £8.8 million transfer budget, so we can go spending. And well, that's exactly what we've done, as we spent 2.6 million on Lee Wee Chen, 1.7 million on Scottish central defensive midfielder Alan Connolly, who had some way worked us over to Italy, and spent 1.2 million on Lewis Mills as well. We also brought in the actual Scotland number 9 Donald Hay on a loan deal from Chelsea. I've got no idea how we've achieved this, but we have. He did play hardly at all last season for Hearts, which is a bit weird because he is fantastic. He has got great physical stats, 13 finishing, 14 composure, great off the ball work, so potentially as our pressing forward next to Rory Hanlon, he is going to be an absolute game changer. There was some more free agent signings like Carr on the right wing, who is outrageously good, some great agility, physical stats are also very good. And Willsmere and Connolly still in DN, Spence on the left, Rick Harry on the left back, Tansman at centre back next to Fidel Henry has been outrageously good. They are both so quick and so good. And Rogers at right back as well, with of course Chidieze in goal, who, as I mentioned, I think when he come in was released from Arsenal. He has been so good for us, and he is just just unbelievable. He is very determined. He's not got like the meta stats of FM with the area reach, the jumping reach, but overall as a keeper at this level, he is pretty darn good. In terms of the Cinch Premiership, in terms of the preview, we are the 6th best team, but I think now we have got a squad that can finally compete with Rangers, Celtic, Hibernian, Hearts. I mean, we've been overachieving before. We're about to overachieve like never before. The first thing to tick off our list was the Via Play Cup, a bit like the Carabao Cup in England. And for the first time, we'd made it to the final. We went 1-0 up and we went 2-0 up as well, thanks to a backstick header from Mawson. Very, very easy, that one. We beat Dundee. I mean, at this point, our team is just miles better than everyone other than Celtic and Rangers. So this really wasn't a competition. What was a competition, though, was winning the Cinch Premiership, because even though we had fantastic runs of form just like this, there was one team that were going to take us to the very last day of the season. That team was, of course, Rangers, managed by Lautaro Martinez. All we had to do here against Dundee United was secure the 3 points. And of course, Rory Hannon's got us off to a great start to make it 1-0 before Spence scores to make it 2-0 in the 17th minute, and it took all the way to the 90th minute. But we grabbed a third and final goal as Hanlon found Tansman to find Nweke to make it 3-0. And the mighty Fort William were champions of Scotland. It has been an absolute rise from tier 6 to the top tier to overtake Celtic, Rangers, to win a Euro competition. It has taken 20 seasons, but Fort William are finally champions of Scotland. And to cap it all off is, of course, the Scottish Cup final, where we are playing up against Hibs. We score from the spot to make it 1-0. Of course, it's Rory Hanlon before they actually peg us back to make it 1-1. We do score, though, in extra time in the 105th minute to win the game. I say that, actually, that's not what happens. Carl whips it in and Donald Hay scores, and they actually score in the 121st minute, which I think is a little bit of match fixing. They tried to mug us off. They tried to make us, we had to do one more season. But something we have learned in this rebuild is Fort William are the masters of penalty taking, and we win that 5-4, which means the domestic treble has been completed. We couldn't quite lift the Europa League. We lost in the round of 16 to Roma. We had an unbelievable league phase, grabbed 21 points. I thought we were actually going to do 2 European competitions, but sadly Roma beat us 5-4 on aggregate. The final was Napoli versus Liverpool, though, so it would have been very difficult either way. The team, I'm just absolutely in love with this rebuild. I'm in love with Fort William. I went and watched Shinty. I tried to watch the team, but sadly they were obviously on this weird away/home day in the middle of nowhere playing in the school, which was odd. Donald Hay was unbelievable this season. Rory Hanlon, though, is a legend, and I hope, as I check this, that Fort William, we are listed in the Legends category. There we are. A legend of Fort William, along with Andrew Kyle, who, if you remember, was an absolute legend. And hopefully he replaces me as manager, because he is him, with Rory Hanlon, an icon, but of course one day set to become a legend. Build him a statue. Build Andrew Kyle, Rory Hanlon, and me in the middle, a statue outside the Fort William Clagan Park. If you have enjoyed this 20-season long-term rebuild, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to try and take Fort William to Champions League glory, there's a Patreon file just down below.